Before we start the shir today, let me just say a few words about what's on everyone's heart and everyone's mind in these tragic days. Shavas mesois libenu nefach la'evel mechoilenu. It's a posuk in Sefer Iyov, and it's what comes to mind and came to everyone's mind Thursday night. This was a Lag Ba'omer like no other that we ever knew, and we hope no other that we ever will know. So Lag Ba'omer is a day of simcha. Hundreds of thousands of Tayari make their way up north to be at Reb Shimon's kever. Tens of thousands usually come from Chutz La'aretz, and the entire world, Jewish world, rejoices. And from year to year, the simcha becomes greater. And at the time of utmost simcha, such a horrible tragedy. And Thursday night, as I heard what's happening, what came to my mind is the story of Aaron HaKohen, another of Va'aviu, Vayidoim Aharon. Chanukas HaMishkan, an event that the entire Klal Yisrael waited for. After hundreds of years of Galus, after Matan Torah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises a Mishkan, and wandering in the desert with so many trials and tribulations and nisyonis, and finally they got there. V'yered Aharon, after he was makrib the chatos and the oila and the shlomim, v'yisayoda v'lo'om v'yavorchem, after berches koyanim, at the height of the simcha, and suddenly tragedy strikes. V'teitza eish milifnei Hashem v'yoichlem, and Aaron HaKohen's two sons die. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, they were greater than me and you. How does Aaron HaKohen respond? Vayidoim Aharon. Sometimes there's just nothing to say. All you could do is cry. There's a Medrash Pliya, which really is a pella. Vayidoim Aharon. Ma hoyo lo leheshiv. What could he say? If the Pasuk stresses that Aaron was silent, he said nothing, obviously. Something was on his heart. He had something to say, which he didn't want to say. The Medrash says, Ma hoya lo leheshiv, b'yoyim hashmini yimol b'sar alosoi. So it happened in Shmini L'Miluim, and the parsha starts, V'hi b'yoyim hashmini. But what did Aaron have to say? B'yom hashmini yimor b'sar alosai. What's the shaykhis? I once heard a gewaldige Wort. Neder the Flamed Aleph on the base, the Gemara says, Lama omre teure tinoik nimoy l'shmini. Shelo yiyu kulam semechim va'ove ve'imoy atzuvim. So there are 7 Shivas Yemei Tumah. So it's not Messiasha with a lev, it's not reasonable. Everybody will be happy, all the guests will be happy, the cousins and the uncles and the aunts, and Aaron could have said, Klal Yisrael is happy, and I, the Kohen Gadol, after I did the avodah, do I deserve this? Aaron could have said, how could this be? Do I deserve this? Kulam smechim? And I am the one that's supposed to mourn and cry over my children? But Aaron says nothing. Sometimes all you can do is v'yidam Aaron, and that's your great nisayon. Maybe it's silly to say, but I try to imagine, how does Reb Shimon feel? Up there in Gan Eden, everybody comes to be happy with him, and tragedy strikes at his kever. Those people that made such an effort to be with Reb Shimon, b'yoyim dehilula. So Reb Shimon probably could ask the same question. Vayidoim aharoin. And it's such a midas adin. Reb Shimon is the one that says in Sukkah Mem Hayomid Beis Yochanan he lifted us kol oilam kulim and adin. It is in my ability to be poiter kol oilam kulim and adin. And Reb Shimon's merit and Reb Shimon's schuyos and in what Reb Shimon kibel aratzmoi, Yesurim of Klal Yisrael. And such a terrible tragedy happens on Lag BaOmer and the kever of Reb Shimon. So it's just something which we can't even try to understand. So in my shul Friday night, I said that the Sifrei HaKabbalah say that Lag BaOmer Be'etzem is a terrible day of Midas Adin. And there's a special zgula that Midas Adin is Nefach LaRachamim on Lag BaOmer. Rabbi Yankov Emden, in his Siddur, says that Akshav Oisen Yom Zeh Simcha. You know, the minig is to make a simcha on Lag BaOmer. And he says this day is Kuloi Din B'derech She'amru Chazal Sanhedrin Shero'u Kulam L'choi V'poitre Moisoi. Pele. When the entire Sanhedrin sees Choiva, all the 23 Dayanim say, Chayiv Misa, we pater him because this cannot be. It's too bad. If it's so bad, it has to be good. So the Yankov Emden says an amazing thought. Sosam v'roi piresh. Lag BaOmer is a day of Midas Adin. Such an intense Midas Adin, it's got to be good. Tzroin HaMoyer was 100 years before, 200 years before Rabbi Yankov Emden. Goylei Sfarad, Rav Avram Sava, and in Parshas Emoyer, he writes on the Posuk in Tehillim Peites, Atu Moishel Begeus Hayam B'soi Galov Ato Tishabcheim. So he says, B'soi Galov, Gal is a remes to Lag BaOmer. So when it's a stormy sea, and there are huge waves and swells, and these waves threaten all the boats, all the ships around, everybody could be shipwrecked. And the nature of a huge wave is, when it reaches its height, it just breaks and melts down into the sea. So he says on the Posek, Ato Moishel Begeis Yam B'soi Galav Ato Tishabcheim. And Rashi explains, Ato Tishabcheim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu breaks the waves, V'mashkit oisam, V'machnia oisam. So Lag BaOmer is a stormy sea, and there are huge waves threaten the entire world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'midas HaRachamim, is Hoifach Din HaRachamim. So on this Lag BaOmer, it seems to be that something didn't work, you know. Yes, we experienced the Midas Adin for some reason. Kach also b'machshava, lafoni v'tzboch shemai, that the Midas Adin somehow wasn't transformed into Rachamim, and it's a terrible Hestaponim and a terrible Midas Adin. And the avoida is Vayidoim aharoin. Obviously he had what to say. He had questions to ask, but he did not ask. We never ask questions. This is part of who we are as Eden, part of Yiddishkeit. We've been through so many nisyonis, more than any other people. We're the Am Livchar, Bonav Shel Elokeinu, and historically we've suffered more than any other people, any other nation in history. B'chol dor v'dor roimdem aleinu l'chaloseinu, and Baruch Hashem, Kodesh Baruch Hu matzilenu b'yodem, and we don't ask questions. Vayidoim aharoin. I heard many times from my great Rebbe, from the Kloisenberg Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik V'Kodesh Levrocha, the Divrei Yatzer, that when we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, Mavi Yodoi Aleinav, Pashtis, it is just because the Kavon is required in Posek Rishon Shel Kriya Shema, so we don't want any distractions. But if that's the case, you could just close your eyes or look into your siddur. It obviously is some symbolic act that you lift your hand and cover your eyes. So the Kloisenberg Rebbe said, we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu. As we know, Havai is Rachamim and Elokeinu is Din. In our hearts we know and feel and believe Hashem Echad, that everything is Rachamim. and even Midas Adin and Pnimius is Rachamim. There are many, many sources about this. The Ramban and the Posuk, Miyaminoi Eish Das Lomoi, and Igon, and many sources. So we cover our eyes as if to say, sometimes we see Midas Adin, we don't see the Rachamim. We feel the pain, we feel the suffering, we hear the cries, and the Rachamim isn't obvious. We just can't manage to see where the Midas Rachamim is, so we cover our eyes as if to say, Rabbeinu Shalom, we believe in our hearts, called the Yovad Rachman al-Tavov, and even when we cannot see it. So we cover our eyes as if to say, we know it's not what we see. There is more depth than what the human eye could see or the human heart could feel, and we believe called the Yovad Rachman al-Tavov in a way. Kasher HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yigala Ofer Me'einenu B'Korah B'Yameinu, we will see things as they really are. So, B'Yidam Maharan, there's not much to say, only to be mispal and feel with the families that have lost their precious children and parents, and what a number, 45 people, every chug, every group, children, bocharim, yungalite, elderly people, everybody was there. From all the machnas, Sfardim, Ashkenazim, Meron, Hasidish, everyone was makrev korbanos, and those were korbanos tzibur lechaper al am Yisrael. We should all hear b'soydes toivus and the schus of Reb Shimon, Ta'amed Lonu, Yeshua's Benachomes and Benachomes Tzion. We should all be misnachem.